I was sitting at my desk in my home office when my phone chimed. Family group chat. Jessica had sent a message, decorated with 3 little celebration emojis. Finally buying Mara's beach house at foreclosure auction. Bank listed it for $400,000, worth at least $2.8 million. Getting it appraised next week. We can flip it or keep it as a family vacation place. My dad replied in under a minute and a half. Wired you $200,000. Your mother and I are in. Mom followed right after. About time that place gets put to good use. Then my brother Trevor jumped in. Can I get in on this? I've got $50,000 to invest. Jessica shut that down fast. Family only. Down payment's already ready. Auction's Thursday. I just stared at my phone. The beach house. The same one I'd bought back in 2019. The same one I'd been paying the mortgage on month after month for 6 straight years. The same house that had never, at any point, been in foreclosure. I didn't type anything into the chat. Instead, I opened my banking app. Mortgage account. Current balance. $0. I'd made the final payment 3 weeks earlier. An early payoff. $1.2 million. The house was officially mine. Free and clear. My phone buzzed again. A private message from Jessica. Don't worry about the house. I know you're struggling. This way it stays in the family. You can even visit sometimes if you ask nicely. Struggling. That word again. The same word they'd been using for 6 years to explain my life to themselves. The word that made it easier for them to sleep at night while brushing off everything I'd accomplished. For 6 years, my family had been narrating my life like it was a cautionary tale. The beach house was my reckless impulse buy. The mortgage was my crushing debt. My career as a marine conservation consultant, just a midlife crisis with better branding. What they never bothered to learn was that my consulting work paid $240,000 a year. The beach house wasn't a mistake. It was my office, my research base, and my home. The mortgage had always been manageable. Paying it off early wasn't luck. It was a strategy. I sat back down and opened a new document. It wasn't for them. It was for me. I titled it, The Ghost Ledger. Years of Silence. 1 Regional Conservation Award in 2021. The family never mentioned it. Cost, validation, unrecoverable. Featured in a National Geographic article in 2022. Mom said, That's nice. Then changed the subject to Jessica's new car within 40 seconds. Cost, pride in my work, never acknowledged. Paid off a $1.2 million mortgage early in 2024. I didn't tell them, because every financial win I shared somehow turned into either luck or irresponsibility. Cost, the permanent loss of shared joy. Published a peer-reviewed research paper on coastal ecosystem preservation in 2023. 12 months of work. Dad asked if it paid anything. When I said no, he called it a waste of time. Cost, intellectual achievement dismissed. Time stolen. Every family dinner came with the same question. When was I going to get a real job? Meanwhile, Jessica's bank teller role was praised as a stable career. Cost, 4 hours per month times 72 months, 288 hours of dignity. 3 Thanksgivings spent explaining my work only to hear, sounds complicated, before the subject changed. Cost, professional respect never granted. Christmas 2022. I brought photos of my research boat. Jessica brought photos of her Toyota Camry. Her pictures got 40 minutes of discussion. Mine got, that's impractical. Cost, equal treatment, confidence erosion. Jessica bought a $40,000 car and the family celebrated. Dad called her financially brilliant. I bought an $85,000 research boat essential for my work. They called it wasteful and said I was showing off. Cost, self-worth. My sister got promoted to senior teller. Family dinner, cake, champagne. That same month, I secured a 3-year consulting contract worth $720,000. When I told them, Mom said, Be careful with contracts. No celebration. Cost, family pride in my success. Emotional accounting piled up fast. Years of phone calls that went to voicemail when I called, but instant replies when Jessica called. Cost, priority never received. My birthday was forgotten 3 times in 6 years. Jessica's birthday was never missed once. Cost, equal care. By the time I finished, the spreadsheet had 52-line items, every achievement minimized, every celebration withheld, every success rewritten as some kind of failure. I thought about something I'd learned in therapy, the sunk cost fallacy. I'd kept investing in these relationships, convinced that if I just waited long enough, acceptance would eventually pay out. But slot machines don't reward loyalty. They pay randomly. Or not at all. This was my origin moment. Not when I bought the beach house. Not when I changed careers. This exact moment. Standing in my kitchen, salt air drifting through the windows, staring at a family chat where they were celebrating the theft of my home. Something snapped into focus. Family isn't about shared blood. It's about who shows up when blood alone isn't enough. They never showed up. Thursday morning, 9:47 a.m., Jessica posted again in the group chat. At the auction now, beach house will be mine in 20 minutes. Already tasting margaritas on that deck. At the same time, I was in a meeting with a client, calmly discussing a $180,000. I was in the middle of talking through a coastal restoration project when my phone started buzzing. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. It rang again. Same number, then a third time. I excused myself from the meeting and finally answered. Ms. Marichin speaking? This is Robert Caldwell, Senior Vice President at Coastal Federal Bank, the voice said. I'm sorry to call so urgently, but we have a situation. I leaned back slightly. Okay. A woman named Jessica Chin contacted our foreclosure department. She claims to be representing you in the purchase of a property at 847 Ocean Vista Drive. There was a pause before he added, Your property. My property. Those two words landed heavy and solid, like something real I could grab onto. That property isn't in foreclosure, I said, keeping my voice steady. Correct, he replied. You paid off the entire mortgage balance 3 weeks ago. $1.2 million early settlement. Honestly, one of the smoothest transactions we've handled all year. Then he continued. However, Ms. Jessica Chin is currently at the county courthouse with a $400,000 cashier's check, claiming she's purchasing the property at auction. She's provided documents showing she's your sister. She is my sister, I said, but she does not represent me. She doesn't have my permission, and I didn't authorize any sale. The line went quiet. Then Robert spoke again, slower this time. Ms. Chin, I need to ask this directly. Is your sister attempting to fraudulently purchase your property? The question just hung there. This was it, the clean dividing line between family loyalty and legal reality. Yes, I said, that's exactly what she's trying to do. I'm conferencing in our legal department now, he replied. Please stay on the line. What followed moved with the cold, efficient precision of an institution protecting itself. Step 1, documentation review. 47 minutes. They pulled everything. Mortgage origination paperwork from 2019, all signed by me. 72 consecutive monthly payments. Never late, never missed. Early payoff authorization. My signature, my account, my verification code. Current title holder, Mara Chin. Sole owner, no liens. Then they reviewed Jessica's claim. 0 legitimate documentation. The only thing she had was a fake foreclosure notice she'd created using a downloadable legal template from the internet. Step 2, fraud alert. 12 minutes. Coastal Federal contacted the county courthouse. The auction was immediately halted. Jessica's cashier's check was frozen. All parties were notified. No sale, no transfer. Formal investigation initiated. Step 3, family notification. 22 minutes. Robert Caldwell called Jessica directly. I asked him to put it on speaker. Ms. Jessica Chin, he said calmly, this is Robert Caldwell with Coastal Federal Bank. The property at 847 Ocean Vista Drive is not in foreclosure. It is owned outright by Ms. Mara Chin. Your attempt to purchase it constitutes attempted fraud, and we are legally required to report this to local authorities. Her voice came through thin and shaking. But the listing, I saw the foreclosure listing online. There is no foreclosure listing, he said. The property is not for sale. Did you create false documentation? Silence. Then, quietly, I need to call my lawyer. That would be advisable, Robert said. You should also know that the $400,000 cashier's check has been frozen pending investigation. Your father's $200,000 contribution is included in that freeze. The call ended. 30 seconds later, the family group chat detonated. Jessica. Mara, did you tell the bank I'm trying to steal your house? Dad. What the hell is going on? The bank froze my $200,000. Trevor. Wait, what? The house isn't in foreclosure? Mom. Mara, call Jessica right now and fix this. Jessica again. The house was abandoned. You don't even go there. I took a screenshot of the entire exchange and saved it in a folder labeled Evidence. Then I typed one message. I live there. It's my home office. I paid off the $1.2 million mortgage 3 weeks ago. The house is mine, free and clear. Jessica attempted to fraudulently purchase my property. The bank is investigating. I did not authorize any of this. Then I left the group chat. My phone started ringing immediately. I didn't answer. 6 calls in a row. I turned the phone off. Step 4, criminal investigation. 2 weeks. The county fraud division officially took the case. Detective Sarah Martinez reviewed everything. Jessica's fake foreclosure notice, the cashier's check, my father's wire transfer, the group chat messages. This is pretty clear-cut, she told me over the phone. She created false documents to purchase property she knew she didn't own. She paused. Your father's involvement complicates things. He provided material financial support for the fraud. Technically, that makes him an accessory. Will there be charges? I asked. The district attorney is reviewing it, she said. At a minimum, your sister is looking at attempted real estate fraud and forgery. Your father could also face charges as an accessory if we can establish that he knew the property wasn't actually in foreclosure. She added, the group chat shows he wired money within 90 seconds of her announcement. No verification, no due diligence, just immediate financial backing. That helps our case. Step 5, evidence collection, 3 weeks. With a warrant, the bank's forensic team pulled Jessica's browser history. It told the entire story. How to buy foreclosed property at auction. Can family members purchase foreclosed homes? Foreclosure notice template download. What if property owner contests foreclosure sale? Penalty for fraudulent property purchase, California. The final search was timestamped 2 days before the auction attempt. There was no confusion anymore, no misunderstanding, no gray area. She hadn't made a mistake. She'd made a plan. Can you go to jail for fake foreclosure documents? That was one of the questions she had searched. Yes. She knew the risk. She researched it. And then she moved forward anyway. Step 6. Asset recovery. 4 weeks. The frozen $400,000 turned into a legal knot no one could untangle quickly. $200,000 came from Jessica, part savings, part home equity loan. The other $200,000 came from my parents' retirement account. Trevor's attempted $50,000 never cleared. Jessica hired an attorney. Her defense was simple and rehearsed. She claimed she genuinely believed the property had been abandoned and was in foreclosure. She said she'd seen a listing online. She said she was only trying to help the family. The prosecutor's response was precise and ruthless. Present the listing. She couldn't, because it never existed. Step 7. Formal charges filed. 5 weeks. Jessica Chin was charged with attempted real estate fraud, forgery, and filing false documents. My father was charged as an accessory to fraud. The family group chat, the one I had already left, apparently went nuclear. Trevor called me, crying. Mom says this is ridiculous, he said. She says Jessica made a mistake. Then he paused. She says you're destroying the family over a house. Another pause. Dad's facing criminal charges because his daughter is vindictive. That's what they're saying. Then Trevor said something different. Maybe we should have checked if the house was actually in foreclosure. He sent me screenshots. They were calling me the villain. Then his voice dropped. But Mara, you bought a $2.8 million house. You paid it off early. You've been successful this whole time, and we treated you like you were failing. Yes, I said. I'm sorry, he whispered. I'm so sorry. I believe you want to do better, I said carefully. Whether you actually do, that remains to be seen. Step 8, plea negotiations. 8 weeks, Jessica's attorney worked out a deal. She pled guilty to attempted fraud, 5 years probation, a $50,000 fine, restitution to cover legal costs, a permanent criminal record, no jail time. My father's charges were dropped in exchange for cooperation and testimony. He had to formally acknowledge in court documents that he wired $200,000 without verifying the property's status. His money was returned, minus legal fees. He lost $47,000. Step 9, professional consequences. 12 weeks. Jessica worked as a bank teller, past tense. Her employer terminated her the same day charges were filed. A bank employee convicted of fraud is unemployable in financial services. She'd been taking real estate courses online, hoping to pivot careers. That door slammed shut too. No state issues real estate licenses to people convicted of real estate fraud. Step 10. Social fallout. Ongoing. The case became public record. Local news picked it up. Woman attempts to fraudulently purchase sister's $2.8 million beach house. My dad had bragged about the family investment opportunity before everything unraveled. He told his golf buddies they were buying a foreclosed beach house for $400,000 that was worth $2.8 million. Now they knew the truth. The invitations stopped. The foursomes rearranged themselves. His phone got quieter. Mom sent me one text. "You could have handled this privately." I blocked her number. The ghost ledger taught me something important about revenge. Revenge isn't rage, it's patience sharpened into strategy. It's letting people fully reveal who they are before you show what you know. Jessica didn't just try to buy my house, she tried to profit from what she believed was my failure. She celebrated it. She invited the family to celebrate with her. She turned my supposed foreclosure into a group investment opportunity, and my father wired $200,000 in 90 seconds. Not to help me, to help Jessica profit from what they thought was my collapse. That speed told me everything. No call to check on me. No question about whether I needed help. Just instant participation in what they believed was my downfall. That's what the ghost ledger really captured. Not just the accomplishments they ignored, but the pattern underneath it all. They needed me to fail, so their ordinary lives could feel like success by comparison. When I paid off a $1.2 million mortgage early, there was no celebration because it broke their story. I wasn't supposed to thrive. I was supposed to drown in debt. I was supposed to need saving, not stand fully independent. Jessica's fraud attempt was just the loudest version of what they'd been doing quietly for 6 years, trying to take what was mine and reframe it as generosity. 2 years later, the beach house is still my home. The deck where Jessica imagined sipping margaritas is where I drink coffee at sunrise. I review satellite data for marine conservation projects while the ocean moves below me. Last week, I received a letter from the National Marine Conservation Foundation. They established a fellowship in my name, $100,000 a year, dedicated to supporting emerging researchers. The press release even mentioned my beach house, calling it a model for how living space and research work can exist under the same roof. I didn't tell my family. I don't tell them anything anymore. My dad sent me an email. "You didn't have to press charges. We're family." I never replied, but I sat with that sentence for a long time. I thought about how family was always supposed to mean unconditional support, except it only seemed to apply when they needed forgiveness, never when they were expected to offer it. Robert Caldwell from Coastal Federal still emails me once in a while. "That property was a good investment," he wrote in one message, "in more ways than one." Trevor calls sometimes. Our conversations are careful, measured. He's in therapy now. He's asking questions he never used to ask. One time he said, "How did you know to save everything? To document all of it?" "I didn't," I told him. I just stopped believing their version of my life. The ghost ledger still sits in a folder on my desktop. 52-line items of theft that left no physical fingerprints, but I don't open it anymore. I don't need to keep track of what was taken. I'm too busy recording what I've built. That account is closed. The balance is 0. And for the first time in my life, I am completely, permanently free.